We have with us here somebody who's seen it all in the stock markets in that sense. I must say, Ashish and I go back many years. In the mid 90s, when I first met him, Ashish was one of the brightest sparks in the newly set up NSE team under Dr. R.H. Patil. He's still a very bright young person. Only difference is today he is the MD and CEO of the world's third largest stock exchange, the National Stock Exchange. In the interim, Ashish has done a lot of things. He's also been the MD and CEO of the Bombay Stock Exchange. And he's also been the CEO of Mumbai Indians before that. And now, of course, he's heading NSE. So, Ashish, to start off, I'd like to ask you, over your journey as having covered the stock markets, having watched the stock markets as an administrator mostly, what do you think are the 4 or 5 key, milestones in the Indian markets which have really stayed with you? Which are the defining moments of the Indian markets in that sense?
Thanks, Saurav. There have been many moments, but one of the more sort of revealing situations was when I think in July 95, I went to Coimbatore to inaugurate the first NSE terminal outside of Mumbai. And that was like 6 months after we launched NSE in 1994. And I placed the order, and within a second, the confirmation came saying that the trade happened. And there was like a 75-year-old person who was the father of the owner of the brokerage house, and he could not believe it, that he could get the prices at which the people who were sitting in Mumbai could trade. And that was a kind of a beginning of revolution in my mind. I mean, I had set up the technology. It was all Mumbai in some ways. Mumbai was the capital, and suddenly it democratized in one single swoop, just brought the entire country on a single floor. And that was a very large sort of revelation. The other part was that we used to have share certificates. I don't know how many of you have seen share certificates or watched that Sony live sort of serial where Arshad Mehta used to trade in shares, which people do today also. But those days, if you have to convert the shares in your name, you used to get like physical shares. And those shares used to be sent to the registrar for transfer once in a year before the dividends came. And many people started actually printing those certificates at their home. So if you had, it is like a currency note, right? You have 1 crore currency note, suddenly 10% comes in and things go wrong, right? So that's how people started, and Saurav might remember some of his stories on those fake shares and stuff like that. And so we had to set up a depository system. And that is where all the shares today are, which you usually trade, are sitting in like a bank in some account, and you are able to move them effortlessly without sending it to somebody or even worrying about whether the signature will be wrong or the share certificates will be fake and all. And so that was another big moment or moment in India's capital markets life. And then we used to get every day a newer rumor saying this broker has defaulted, that broker has defaulted, and that actually happened. If some of you are old enough and connected to markets, you might remember MS Shoes. The MS Shoes episode was a last such episode in India's markets. I think it happened in 1995. NSE had just started. It happened on BSE, but the brokers used to take, or their customers used to take large positions and could not settle when the time came to settlement, because the trade used to happen for 15 days, and then settlements would happen anytime after 30, 40 days of that. And in the meantime, the risk would go up. So after the MS Shoes, we said, how do we stop this from happening? Because every few months, if somebody has to go down and the entire market closes and people have to take losses, then there is no comfort for the people who are investing money. It was more a trader's activity, and somebody losing, actually the entire market loses. So that's where we set up clearing corporations which provide guarantees for settlements. These are things which happen in the background. None of you are aware of why these things happen and what are the philosophies behind it. But in a way, you end up using them. So today, I mean, those days, the best days. So these are the like three momentous occasions. The fourth was, of course, starting of derivatives. That around year 2000, because we wanted to separate the trading in stocks, the spot market from the speculation. So that's where the derivatives were introduced. And so these are like four seminal moments in India's capital markets history. And in terms of technology history, just setting up the satellite telecom network, because India, if you recall in 93, 94, if you had to get a telephone line at home, it would take 5 years. And to keep it running, you had to pay every month to the linesman, right? And so from there, the entire country got on the same platform using satellite. I mean, we used to send satellites upstairs to the sky, but we never used anything out of that. We were just, everyone was doing, we were also doing. And suddenly we started using that first time. And that was like a huge technology moment. After that, computers actually came in life of people. In Coimbatore, in Dibrugarh, in Jorhat, people placed orders on computers and it gave them response, and there were actually trades happening on which money has to be transferred. After that, India's technological prowess got established. That was the first and single largest public digital infrastructure project of India. That was NSE. And then all the IT companies of India came up, Y2K came, and of course the automation of banks came. But they also did their ATMs or their automation of branches on the same VSAT network to begin with. And that's where India's automation, India's IT prowess, India's public digital infrastructure, what you know now, and all those tech billionaires we all worship, actually, in some ways, this was the mother of the technological revolution in addition to the financial markets revolution. My first projection of NSE, because I was a project finance officer in IDBI, which was told to set up. If I had done 10,000 trades a day, 10,000 trades a day after 3 years of starting the NSE, I would have been immensely successful. Because BSE could not trade even 10,000 trades a day in such a large hall.